Good afternoon, Ms. Daciano.
Good afternoon.
Um, we're gonna let Judge Law sign that new amended order to,
Yeah, I read the order again and I told him I need the Word version because the way he worded it's weird. I understand why she was like, I don't want to sign this right now. So I was like, I'll get it fixed and then I'll email it to Judge Law directly.
okay. I want you to know I didn't forget about you, but
Oh, I know. Thank you though.
okay, you're welcome.
And I'm in a null pros position 11. Do I send you the null process
Yes,
today?
ma'am, please.
Okay. I will send that to you right now. Thank you. I just sent it over, Miss Bridgewater. Are you getting my emails at all? Did you get my one from last night?
Let me look just a second. Okay, I just received the null cross, so
Okay, perfect.
yeah, I had someone to come over and look at things, so we should be good.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right.
Excuse me, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Um, I just want to make sure I'm at the right spot. As the court started at 2. This is the link and everything I'm supposed to be on.
Yes, court should start soon.
All right, cool. Appreciate you.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. This is a calendar for misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked in, the cases were then formally accused by the prosecutor, who is the Solicitor General of Fulton County. And hence, this would be the defendant's initial appearance with a judicial officer with regards to their accused cases. For the defendants, once I address your case, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you during the course of this during the course of this recorded proceeding that's also being live streamed. So if you need to say anything, please wait till you have a moment to speak with your attorney. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. For most of the individuals, they may be represented by the public defender's office if they're unable to get an attorney today. Otherwise, we will be addressing your cases through a private counsel, or if you need conflict counsel, then that would be appointed to you on a separate day. When I call your case, I'll let you know what is your accusation number, what are the charges of which you're being accused, to set a bond if one is required, or if one has not been previously set, and to also address any other matters that you want to bring up during the course of your hearing. With regards to bond, some individuals may qualify for what we call a signature bond or a UJR, a unsecured judicial release bond. For those cases, if you do receive such a bond, you don't have to pay for the bond today, but you would have to comply with certain conditions in order to make sure that you preserve your signature or UJR bond. For others who qualify for a surety bond, you would have to pay for your bond either out of your own pocket or through a bonding company, and conditions may still attach to that particular type of bond. Okay, let's address courtroom 2. Who do we have at the present time?
Excuse
We
me.
have
One
Miss
second.
Colvin. She's position 6 through number 10. Her attorney, Mr. Noah Pines.
All right, and Miss Bridgewater, sorry, what was the reset date?
October the 1st.
Have we gotten there already? Oh, wow.
Already.
Okay. All right, this is State versus Lori Sugar Colvin. And Miss Colvin has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases. Each case is includes 1 count of theft by shoplifting. 24 CR 6541E, or Mr. Pines, let me give you the full accusation number, 24 CR 006 541E. And this is a theft by shoplifting charge from August 31st, 2024. Moving on to 24 CR, last 4 digits are 6542E, theft by shoplifting from February 29, 2024. Third case is 24 CR 6543E, theft by shoplifting from February 8, 2024. Next case, 24 CR 6544E, theft by shoplifting from May 31st, 2024. Next case, 24 CR 6545E, theft by shoplifting from April 26, 2024. With regards to these cases, Ms. Colvin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Noah Pines. Mr. Howard, any priors?
No.
All right, first arrest. And Ms. Mokeke, what is the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. As you stated, these incidents have occurred multiple times at the same target location, and that target is located at 13055 Georgia 9 in Milton. The defendant is seen on video taking
toilet paper, paper towels, mouthwash, mop pads, etc. from that target location. In each instance, she scans one or two of the items and then she puts the rest of the items in her bag without scanning them and then proceeds to leave the target without paying for the items. In all instances, the items stolen were less than $500. Given the facts of this case that she has stolen from this target multiple times, the state's recommendation is going to be a $500 surety bond on each count, making it for a total $2,500 surety bond. Stay away from all Target stores, and anti-theft course, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Pines, any response? The state's asking for a total of a $2,500 surety bond.
Your Honor, we have no objection to that. It's a little strange. She came in last night with 5 electronic warrants. When I just looked her up, there are 6 electronic warrants. So and they changed the date on one, but there seems to be EW 04555954, but that shows that she has a $780 surety bond. I'm fine with what the state's recommending on the 5 accusations. I just want to make sure that the jail has a bond for each charge.
If there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, it looks like one of the charges may have been NOD'd or dismissed from the state. Which one would that be, Ms. Okeke? Because I can't tell from.
Let me take a look. I don't believe any of the charges were NOD'd.
1, 2, 3.
So an
Go ahead.
email came about 1 o'clock from records, and it stated that they needed to add another charge. Because I guess that's the one that the attorney is talking about. But it did come about 1 o'clock after the calendar came out.
I'm so sorry. I was in the middle of another proceeding, so I did not see that email.
Yeah, I have it.
All right. Let me see if I can.
But she wanted to know if it could be added today or hear it tomorrow. I'll send you the email I got.
No, I've got it. I've got it.
Oh, you see it? Okay.
Yeah, now I do. I'm so sorry. I've not had a chance to.
Okay.
I literally finished my last proceeding at 1:57. So. Okay. Yes, Mr. Pines. It looks like she's got a 6th charge, and I don't have the details of that particular charge. Ms. Mokeke, do you have it?
I do not. Let me see if I can find the date. If it is a similar to this, where it's just stealing from that same target location, then we would just add another $500
the date's
surety bond.
6/24/24. And again, on the jail screen, it shows that she already has a bond. I just want to make sure that we get everything set for the jail so they don't tell us there's one more charge and she's got to spend an extra day.
Oh, no, I definitely understand.
And you go ahead and if you plan to pursue that 6th charge, go ahead and add that accusation today. But presently, and you need to create an accusation number for that 6th charge. So the bond would be $500 surety on each count. The cases are going to be further notice to October 1st, 2024. The next court date, Mr. Pines, is really a preliminary state all-purpose calendar. And if your client does make bond, then she is removed from that calendar and further notice to be addressed by the division judge.
Of course, Your Honor. And I found entries in all the cases this morning. They're just waiting to be docketed. So do I need to do anything about this last case?
Not really. As soon as we get the 6th accusation number, we'll be able to issue the bond order for all of them. And then your client will be able to make bond whenever she chooses to do so. But Ms. Mokeke, please make sure you submit the accusation number before 5 p.m. today. So that
yes, absolutely.
You can complete the bond order. And then Mr. Pines, you will be able to see the bond order with all 6 accusation numbers on it.
Great. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Just to further, for each bond order is going to be a $500 surety bond, and to stay 200 yards away from all Target stores, including the one in Milton, Georgia, at Georgia 9. So, Ms. Coleman, no more shopping at Target. until further order of the court. Since this is not a domestic violence case, I'm not going to order an anti-theft class. The total bond is the $3,000 surety. Of course, if she gets arrested again, the state can always request a revocation of bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Bond, that concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael. We're gonna do position number 4.
This is State versus Sakina Breedlove, 24 CR 6556H, accused of battery, theft by taking, and criminal trespass to property. This was from September 15th, 2024. Ms. Breedlove, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any price, Mr. Howard?
10 total. Last arrest was 2018. No driver's license out of Tennessee. But the history is mostly driving. Only theft arrest I saw was dismissed.
All right.
That's it.
Ms. Desiano?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident took place September 15th around 3 in the morning. The victim is Alicia Lane. She's the property manager of the apartment complex at 6010 Renaissance Parkway in Fairburn. It's my understanding that the defendant and Miss Lane were in a relationship and they live in the same apartment complex. Miss Lane contacted the police officer that lives in their complex around 3 in the morning about a domestic dispute. The officer arrived. The apartment was in disarray. The defendant arrived drunk at the victim's apartment around 2:30 that morning, accusing the victim of having someone in her apartment. There's video footage of part of the incident, shows the defendant punching the victim's TV, and then getting in the victim's face saying things like, "What are you going to do? You can't fight me," yada, yada. She then pushes the victim on the bed and then starts repeatedly punching her, slapping her in the face. The victim was begging for her to stop, and the defendant got on top of her and started punching her again. The victim demanded the defendant leave, and the defendant did leave, but on her way out, she stole all of the victim's security cameras, and in an attempt to avoid anyone seeing the footage that was seen on that, the victim had scratches on her arms and necks and redness on her face. Your Honor, we've been in touch with Miss Lane today. She states that they're no longer in a relationship. They don't live together. They live in the same apartment complex, however. Your Honor, this is not in the warrant. However, the victim stated that during this incident, the defendant grabbed her by the neck with one hand. She said she was unable to breathe. She felt like she was going to die. She felt like her life was slipping away. She said she was unable to talk or scream. She rated the defendant's grip over a 10. She stated her eyes began to roll back in her head. She stated that the defendant had her hand around her neck for about 60 seconds. She said she's scared of her. She doesn't want any contact, and would like for her to stay away from her apartment, Your Honor. This obviously may end up being an upgraded case, Judge. So the state's requesting a $2,000 surety on the battery, a $2,000 on the theft, and $1,000 on the criminal trespass. No further contact with Miss Lane. A stay away from her apartment building, anger management courses, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And Your Honor, I believe the victim's on the line. If you could sound for her, thank you.
Ms. Alicia Lane, if you'd like to contribute, you need to unmute and start your video.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
All right, please lower your device so we can see your full face, all right? And raise your right hand if you want to testify. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Does Ms. Breedlove live in the same proximity to your building?
Yes, we live in the same apartment complex, just in a different building.
And how far is her building from yours?
The leasing office is in the middle.
Okay. What would you like to tell the court?
Honestly, I'm just really just having trouble dealing with all of this. Like, I just feel like if she gets out, it's just going to get worse. She already has somebody contacting my place of employment to cause me to lose my job. So I just feel like, of course, she's going to get out and come over here and shoot me dead, or just something worse is going to happen than what happened to me on Sunday.
And have you actually lost your job?
I did, yes.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, there may be, just a brief aside, there may be all kinds of reasons a person loses their job. And maybe it has something to do with this case. It's not favorable to the alleged victim. My client is 36 years old. She lived in the Atlanta area about 10 months. She is a production manager for a machinist plant and has been doing that for most of the time she's lived in the area. I got tied up with a bad printer. I did not hear the history, but I don't think it's terrible as I recall. She wants nothing to do with Miss Breedlove. She has no problem with staying away, no further contact. We would object to anger management, and we would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Ms. Breedlove, based on the allegations set forth by the prosecutor, the state may be considering upgrading your case, or what we call referring the case to the district attorney's office for a possible felony charge of aggravated strangulation. So I'm not certain whether they plan to do that, but that's what the prosecutor has indicated. With regards to the battery charge, your bond is going to be a $2,000 surety bond. With regards to the theft by taking and the criminal trespass causing damage to property, that's going to be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services. Level 2. So you have presently a $5,000 split bond, and your next court date is going to be October 1st, 2024. For your split bond, you will have to pay for your bond either out of your own pocket or through a bonding company for $2,000. And the remainder of the $3,000 would be a signature bond through pretrial. You will report to pretrial twice a month. You shall have no further contact with Leisha Lane. I'm going to allow you to still continue to live at your apartment, but if you see Miss Lane step outside or is in a car, if she's outside where you can visibly see her, you are required to return immediately back into your apartment or leave the premises immediately. You cannot have any immediate contact with Miss Lane either in person, through a third party, through mail, email, electronic devices such as a phone or a computer, and even discuss her on social media. You're not allowed to own any firearms or weapons, and you are not to consume any illegal drugs and no alcohol. You will report to pretrial services, as I said, twice a month. You will also enroll in a domestic violence intervention program, and you must enroll in such a program within 60 days of being released. So when you report to pretrial, you must show proof of enrollment in such a program. This is a 24-week program, and you will attend each of those 24-week classes, weekly classes, at your expense. Thank you.
Position number 17, Ms. Olson.
This is State versus Judith Olson, accused of battery, family violence from September 17th, 2024. Her accusation is now 24 CR 6554C. Ms. Olson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Mr. Howard, any priors?
No, no.
I'm sorry, Mr. Are you her counsel?
Yes.
Oh, let me change that. Her attorney is Mr. Michael McLean. Yes. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place September 17th at 1805 Rosemont Drive. This is a dispute between mom and daughter. The defendant is mom. The victim is daughter, Amber Autry. She states that she and her mother were arguing over her feelings being hurt because mom treats her differently than her other siblings. Apparently, the argument escalated and the defendant bit her daughter's arm, leaving a bite mark. The defendant did admit to police that she bit her daughter when she asked her to leave, and the daughter refused, and she attempted to yank her off the couch, and when that didn't work, she bit her. We have been in touch with the daughter today. She states that they do not live together. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that the incident location is her mom's residence. They both live in the same complex. She wants contact with her mom. She called the police out there because she wanted them to try to mediate their argument. And she's not in fear and would like to be able to return to her residence. The state's requesting a signature bond through pretrial, no further violent contact, anger awareness course, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if Your Honor can sound for Miss Autry, thank you.
Miss Amber Autry, if you want to address the court, you would need to start your video and unmute. Okay. Mr. McLean, any objections to the bond as recommended by the state?
None, Your Honor. Thank you.
Great. Bond is set at $1,500. It is a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further violent contact with Amber Autry. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. And Ms. Olson, you will attend and complete 1 anger awareness class with pretrial services. You're required to report to pretrial once a month. You don't have to pay for your bond today, but if you get arrested again, if you don't report to pretrial, or if you violate any of the conditions of your bond, including if you have any future physical or verbal altercations with Amber Autry, then you could lose your bond and be back in jail. Your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. If you change your address, make sure that we are the first folks to find out at the clerk's office in writing. Thank you.
What was that contact?
No further violent contact. Next case, please.
ACDC can go ahead to the female.
All right, ACBC, who would you like to call first? Yes, Francois, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Judge Law.
Who shall we address first?
It's going to be number 15, Ms. Carlisle.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Could you repeat that name, please?
Carlisle.
Oh, all right, position 5, Carrie Carr. Okay.
Yes.
No.
Did I say?
All right, Miss Carrie Carlisle's case accusation is 24 CR 6547J. Ms. Carlisle, you've been accused of battery family violence and simple battery family violence from September 16, 2024. You've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Your Honor, before we begin, I'm sorry, Miss McCockey just texted me and said her internet just went out. This is her case and she's going to log back in a minute or so. If there's any way we could go to one of my cases while she logs back in.
Let me see, Miss, who's hosting this proceeding? Miss Champion, do you see Miss Mokeke in the waiting room?
No, ma'am, she's not in the waiting room at this time.
All right. Any of the individuals in ACDC represented by Mr. Cook or Mr. McLean? Oh,
yes.
Ms. Graziano, any of the individuals you are prosecuting at ACDC?
What are their names?
I have number 18 Price and number 19 Randolph.
I have Randolph.
All right.
Okay. Come on, Ms. Randolph.
That'll be me.
This is going to be position number 19.
I also have Price.
Okay, perfect. All right. Maya Adrian Randolph is accused of battery family violence from September 16, 2024. Her accusation number is 24 CR 6552Y. Ms. Randolph, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Mr. Michael McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right, this is the first arrest. Miss,
Go
ahead.
This incident took place September 16th at 4803 Noble Creek Drive. The victim is Carlton Blakely. He's the defendant's boyfriend. They live together. He told police that his girlfriend attacked him after he came home late and there was an argument. He stated that the defendant grabbed him by the throat, pushed him into a wall and started hitting him with a bedroom door as he was trying to leave. The victim had red marks on his arms. We've been in touch with him today. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He states that this is the first time this has happened. He's not in fear and would like for to continue contact with Miss Randolph and for her to be able to return to the residence. The state's requesting a signature bond through pretrial, no further violent contact, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if Your Honor can sound for Mr. Blakely, thank you.
Mr. Blakely? All right. I have an open, hang on.
There was a theft case, Your Honor, that was, there was a warrant that popped up for the theft case at the same time she was arrested for this case. However, we had to NOD it because the statute of limitations has passed.
Okay. All right. Mr. McLean?
No objection.
That was no further violent contact, correct?
Yes.
On the battery family violence, that's going to be a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further violent contact with the victim, and no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. To attend and complete 1 anger awareness program with pretrial services. Ms. Randolph, you can sign up for your bond today without having to pay, but please keep in mind that if you don't report to pretrial once a month, if you get arrested again, or if you have any future altercations with Mr. Blakely that result in your being arrested again, you could lose this bond and be back in jail. All right, we will see you. Make sure your address is current with us at all times. Thank you. And next one is Miss, what was the other case you had, Miss? Was it Miss Price?
Miss Price,
Yes.
Your Honor, and Miss McKecky's back too. So whichever one.
Your Honor,
Yes, Miss McLean?
did y'all get the chat on Ms. Price that we need a breakout to discuss confidential matters?
All right, Ms. Champion, can you place Mr. McLean? Well, Mr. McLean, you are not alone in your room, so I can't put her in a breakout yet until courtroom 2 is vacated.
Your Honor, we can do it like we did a few months ago. I can fire up my phone, go to a window in medical records, and have good enough signal to break out.
Okay. While you are doing that, then I'll address Ms. Mokeki's case at ACDC.
Excuse me. I'm the victim of Cherie Price.
All right, iPhone 4, please remain muted, and we will address you shortly. Thank you.
Can we do position 1, Mr. Adams?
Oh, no. I will definitely get to position 1. Let me just do position 5, Carrie Carlisle. Ms. Carlisle has been advised of the 2 charges brought against her under 24 CR 6547J. This, I understand, is her first arrest. Ms. Mokeki, what's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, just to put the facts on the record briefly, this incident occurred September 16th at the apartment located at 2226th Street. Officers were flagged down by Mr. Tariq Martin, who is the defendant's husband. He stated that the defendant began removing his clothes and his belongings from his car. And when he tried to stop the defendant began pushing him. The defendant then bit him on his right forearm, causing him to bleed, and the bite mark was visible to officers. The defendant did claim that she was also assaulted, but the officers did not see any visible injuries on the defendant. Our office has had a chance to speak with Mr. Martin, who confirmed the events in the warrant, stated that he is planning to file for divorce, and confirming that they share no children. He did state this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards him, but this is the first time he has called the police. He has filed for a TPO, which has been granted. He did state that he wants no contact with the victim and wants her to stay away from the residence until he is able to leave. He confirmed that he's been trying to get out of the lease, but the defendant was refusing to. But obviously now that he has that TPO, he should be able to get out of that lease, and just wants her to stay away until he's able to leave. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, $2,000 on the battery, $1,000 on the simple battery. No further contact with Mr. Tariq Martin. Stay away from that incident location. An FVIP, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, particularly no firearms. I do believe that Mr. Martin is on the Zoom, so I would just ask for you to sound for him.
Mr. Martin?
I'm here. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Mr. Martin, if you want to contribute to the proceedings, you will need to be placed under oath. Do you?
Yes, ma'am. And anything that I say, I can prove. So if you have any questions, I can prove anything.
I don't need you to prove anything. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Absolutely.
All right. Are you presently residing at the marital home with Miss that you used to share with Miss Carlisle?
Yes, I am here currently.
All right.
I'm in process with my leasing office, like you said, with the TPO to get my name off the lease. So I am actually in the process of that.
So when do you plan to vacate those premises?
The process has started. They said it takes 30 days. I would say the 18th. I could be out by the end of the month.
This is apartment 3205?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, the police got the wrong person. I'm convinced of that. My client has filed.
She did not bite his arm?
Well,
Alleged?
alleged. The overall picture. My client position that he was the primary aggressor. Believe she had already filed for divorce. So, of course, they can both file. Obviously, we don't know what the police saw at the scene, but when she got to Rice Street, they sent her immediately to Grady, where she stayed 8 hours. So somebody did something to her. And it wasn't the folks at Rice Street. He was the primary, our position is he was the primary aggressor here. She called the police 5 times before they arrived, and then somehow he got he got to them before she did, and they made a decision, which I think was unfortunate, but can be obviously straightened out over time. We just don't want her to be stuck with a bond she would have trouble making. You've heard her background, criminal background, which was pretty much zip. We would be asking for a signature bond at whatever level of court deems appropriate. We don't believe there's any need now for an anger management or any kind of violence intervention program. As far as the stay away and the no further contact, absolutely, she can't risk being within punching distance of this guy.
All right. Well, I'm not certain, but it looks like I'm trying to figure out whether from the police arrest, whether there was any assessment of this being a mutual combat, but I'm not certain from the brief information I have from the warrant. For the battery family violence, the bond is going to be set at 1,500. For the simple battery, it's going to be set at 1,000. The total bond is going to be 2,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. No further contact with Tariq Martin, and to stay away from 220 26th Street, apartment 3205, Fulton County, Georgia. Miss Carlisle, you have to stay away from that property. You can return after 30 days from today when Mr. Martin has vacated the premises. So today is September 18th. Mr. Martin, according to your statements, you shall vacate the premises by October 18th, 2024. So Ms. Carlisle can return to the premises on October 19th, 2024, and continue to reside there thereafter if she chooses to do so. Miss Carlisle, you shall not consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any firearms. Your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. So depending on whether you decide to go back to the 220 26th Street location, or whether if you change your address, you need to let the court know that in writing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And my internet is a little bit unstable, so if I hop out or I drop out, I apologize. I will come right back on my phone.
Okay. Francois, we can only address, okay, we can address a case now. I think Mr. McLean is there.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, can you put Mr. McLean, myself, Ms. Mokeke into a breakout, please? And Deputy Milton will be with you shortly,
And me, please.
Thank you.
and Ms. Desian. All right, we're going to resume with State versus Sharice Price, 24 CR 006551J, accused of harassing communications and stalking. Ms. Price, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. Michael McLean, and we're just waiting for him to come back into the courtroom. In courtroom 2, there he is. Okay. And Ms. Price, you have been, as I said, you've been advised of your rights. We've already had a breakout session in order to discuss information that's sensitive to you. So that information will not be broadcasted during this main session. I understand that Ms. Tanita Miller is on the Zoom proceeding under iPhone. Well, I've got quite a few iPhone 4s, or at least 2. Which one is Ms. Tanita Miller? You need to unmute and start your video.
My name is Tanita Miller.
You need to start your video.
Hello, you can see me?
All right, Ms. Miller, if you please raise your right hand. Other right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Miller, the only thing I want you to address is the nature of the contact that you want or don't want with Sharice Price.
Well, I had did a TPO and the TPO was for her to stay away. And ever since October, it hasn't been done. I would like for her to stay away. She keep harassing
me. So you don't want her to have any form of communication with you. And what about the children who are under your guardianship?
She don't supposed to have no dealing with them, period. The child that's up under my guardianship is my nephew.
Okay, thank you. You may mute your screen, Ms. Miller. All right. Ms. Price, based on the discussions we've had with your attorney present and your attorney's arguments on the harassing communications, your bond is going to be set at $3,500 surety bond. You're to have no further contact with Tanita Miller and no further contact with the child or children that are under her guardianship. You're not allowed to make any phone calls from the jail. You're not to call her from anywhere else. You're to stay 200 yards away from Miss Miller and the child. You're not to contact her in person, through mail, email, through any kind of electronic device, and definitely not on social media. You're also not to contact any third party in order to reach out to Miss Miller or the child. Okay, Miss Miller, now that I have indicated my ruling, your next court date is going to be October 1st, 2024 at 9 a.m. Ms. Miller, now listen very carefully. You have a criminal case pending against you. Anything that you choose to say about this case right now, your statements can and will be used against you and make it very difficult for your attorney to represent you. So I highly recommend that if you want to say anything, you wait till you have a private moment with your attorney.
You said me, Your Honor?
No, Miss Miller, not you. I'm talking, sorry, I meant Miss Price.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I do beg your pardon. This instruction was to Miss Price. All right, Price, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say can and will be used against you. So if you want to discuss your case, highly recommend that you wait till you speak with your attorney. And Miss Bridgewater, I don't remember, it was a $3,500 signature bond through the jail on the stalking charge.
Yes, ma'am, for a total of a $7,000 split bond.
Correct. October 1st, next court date. All right, all right, so Miss Price, would you like to exercise your right to remain silent?
I just wanted to say something about the baby she got. I have paperwork that I have.
Miss Price.
Yes.
This is your attorney talking.
Hey, I have paperwork.
Miss Price, this is your attorney speaking.
Okay.
You don't need to give any testimony today, and you don't need to say anything except goodbye and have a good day.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Francois, I think W. Milton, excuse me.
Yeah, it's 3,500 surety
on count 1 and 3,500 signature bond through the jail on count 2.
Okay. All right, so, all right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, no calls from the jail, no calls anywhere to Tanita Miller and the child in question. Thank you.
Thank you, may we be excused, please?
Yes, Deputy Miller, have a good day. Thank you. Courtroom 2, who is next, please?
Number 1.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt. Am I allowed to leave or do I have to stay?
Martin, you're free to go. Thank you.
Oh, all right, fine.
And so are you, Miss Miller, if she's already left? Okay. This is State versus Jacory Adams, accused of simple battery family violence under case number 24 CR 6538J. Mr. Adams, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Mr. Michael McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Fourth adult arrest. All 4 arrests are from this year. Last arrest was in August. Marietta ag assault, interference with government property, obstruction. That's open. Has open battery obstruction. Cruelty in the third, 24 CR 001 379J. Another open case out of car, possession of a Schedule 2. It has an FTA hold.
Thank you. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred August 8th, 2024, when officers were called out to 1315 Northwest Drive, and they spoke with Ajay Rogers, who stated that the defendant was upset with her and then proceeded to pull off his shoe and strike her in the head with the shoe. The defendant is the ex-boyfriend of the victim, Miss Rogers, and is also the father of Miss Rogers' 2 children. Our office has had an opportunity to speak with Miss Rogers, who confirmed that her and the defendant are not in a relationship. They don't live together. And they do, of course, share those 2 children. She stated that the incident location is her residence, and this is not the first time that he has been violent towards her. That open case 24 CR 1379J is with the same victim, in this case, Miss Rogers. In that case, he was ordered to have no contact with the victim and also to stay away from her residence. Obviously, they have been in contact and he has been violent with her. She did state this was the first time he's been violent since that previous incident. She, of course, wants no contact and wants him to stay away from the residence. The state's recommendation is going to be a $2,000 cash bond, given the defendant's history, the fact that he has an open case with this same victim, and the fact that that FTA he has is with the previous case that he has with the victim. No further contact with Ajay Rogers, and stay away from that incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I would ask the court to sound for Miss Rogers.
Ms. Ajay Rogers, if you'd like to contribute to the proceeding, please unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. Cook, or Mr. McLean, I'm sorry, are you comfortable? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. My trigger finger on the video is not very quick, so you don't see me for a while.
All right, I'm doing that. All right, so
my client is, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My client is 24 years old. He's lived in the Atlanta area his entire life. He is not currently employed. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. He has no problem with any stay away, no further contact. However, given his financial situation, we would object to a cash bond and ask for the lowest surety bond possible. They do have 2 kids. I don't know about the legitimation issues or whether they were, but he would like to see them in a third-party transfer if possible.
All right.
Well, if he's not legitimated the children yet, then we would be opposed to any third-party transfers. He doesn't have.
I'm not sure, so I didn't know what the parties knew.
All right. With regard to the current case for simple battery family violence, the bond is going to be set at $1,000, and that is a cash bond only. Due to the alleged violation of the signature bond through pretrial services, also the fact that this present case involved the same victim within 1 year of getting 2 cases against involving the same victim, same location. No further contact with Ajay Rogers. Mr. Adams, in case you weren't aware or didn't understand your last bond order, let me be very clear. You are to stay 200 yards away. That's the length of 2 football fields from Ajay Rogers and the 2 children that you share with her. If you plan to have any kind of visitation or joint custody with the 2 children, you must file a legitimation action in the appropriate superior court to get a court order with regards to joint visitation, custody, and child support issues. You are not to contact Ajay Rogers and the children either in person, through mail, email, phone, electronic devices, and even on any other kind of social media platform. You're also not to communicate with her through a third party. You're to stay away from their residence, from her place of employment, or wherever she's physically located. With regards, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no weapons and no firearms. With regards to your signature bond in 24 CR 001379J, I'm issuing an order to revoke your signature bond and amend that to a $2,000 surety bond only. Same conditions apply. Please understand that you do not qualify for a signature bond since you were previously awarded one, but now you have allegedly violated the terms of that signature bond. Thank you. Your next court date is October 1st. Sorry.
Your Honor, did you say this particular case has $1,000 cash bond?
Yes.
Okay.
And both cases are going to be reset to the SAP calendar on October 1st.
And repeat that other case number, please.
24 CR 001379J.
Okay, thank you.
Position 2, I have Tamonte Bacchus.
He's also position number 3.
Charged with theft by taking on September 16th, 2024. And Mr. Bacchus has a second case, 24 CR 6540B, accused of theft by taking from September 9th, 2024. Both the initial case is 24 CR 6539B. Mr. Bacchus, with regards to both cases, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Your attorney at the present time is Mr. Cook.
Didn't we have him yesterday?
We did.
Okay.
We did.
Just making sure. Second arrest, he had the open theft by receiving and obstruction. He got good buns yesterday, right?
Yes, he had a $2,000 good bond yesterday for 2 counts of theft by taking, 1,000 each count.
Okay, thank you. Judge, that's it.
Right, thank you. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant's first case, position 2, he's accused of stealing a scooter belonging to Kimmy Woods from the bike rack at the Wardlaw Center, and this is a property of Georgia Tech. The defendant's second case, position 3, the defendant is also accused of stealing a scooter, this time belonging to Amontre Bradford. And this time he took it from the Bobby Dodd Stadium, which again is a property of Georgia Tech. In both instances, he was positively identified by the investigator and was wearing the same clothes in both incidents. As stated, he was on yesterday for theft cases and was given a surety bond. The state's recommendation for today is a $1,000 surety bond for each case. Stay away from Georgia Tech property, no further contact with Kimmy Woods and Amontre Bradford, as well as an anti-theft course, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, we would object to the anti-theft case, but in regard to everything else, we have no objection.
On each count for both cases is going to be a $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from Georgia Tech property, all property. Next court date is October 1st, along with the case from yesterday. So this will be 3 cases to be addressed with Mr. Bacchus on October 1st. Thank you.
Next
Is that going to be position 7? Position 11? Joseph.
we're gonna do position 12, Mr. Spears.
Okay.
Your Honor, an announcement on position 11, the state submitted a null pros for that.
All right. Was it? Okay, null pros. All right.
You said position number 11?
Yes.
Okay.
This is State versus Michael Fears, accused of affray, fighting, as well as disrupting a public school from March 28, 2024. Mr. Fears, your case number is 24 CR 6548B. You've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
8th arrest. 2021 theft by taking open in state court. 2019 suspended license NOLO. 2011 ag assault, possession of a firearm during the commission.
Thank you. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is accused of getting in a fight with a Damon Stevens at Young Middle School located at 3116 Benjamin E. Mays Drive Southwest in Atlanta. Mr. Stevens, who the defendant got into a fight with, was also arrested. He was given a $3,000 SOB through pretrial services. So the state is going to recommend the same thing for Mr. Fears. A signature bond through pretrial services, as well as 1 day of anger awareness, a stay away from Young Middle School, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
What? Is Mr. Fears' current address at Greensbury Avenue? Mr. Cook, would that be the correct address?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct address.
All right. And any objection to the bond as allocated by Ms. Mulcahy?
No objection.
All right. Bond is set on the affray at 2,500 and on the disrupting public school is 1,000. Total bond is 3,500. Signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further contact with Damon Stevens and to stay away from the school on Benjamin E. Mays Road until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Mr. Fears, if you change your address, make sure that you let the courts know first in writing by approaching the clerk's office. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I inquire, Ms. Mulcahy, on something?
Go ahead.
Do you know what day Mr. Stevens appeared in front of the court? We may have to straighten out a possible conflict down the road if he had a public defender.
Oh, I will look into that and then I will send you a chat to let you know.
Oh, thank you very much.
And Mr. Cook, do you have Mr. Fears' contact information?
I do.
If you determine that he qualifies for the public defender's office, please reach out to him. And if you determine that he needs to be represented by conflict, please let him know that the public defender's office is withdrawing from representing him.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Mr. Fears, if the public defender's office is not able to represent you, it is your responsibility to come down to the clerk's office and request an appointment of a conflict attorney. I'm telling you that now because down the road, if you and I meet in court, I don't want you to give me the excuse that I did not know. Do you understand? Good. Next case, please.
Next is number 14, Hutchins.
What's the situation with position 13? Harry Head, what are we doing there?
Your Honor, I can speak to Harry Head.
Yes, sir.
Are we muted? Okay, we're not. I saw him in person yesterday. He needs a mental health evaluation. I've spoken today with a relative of his that will facilitate our getting medical records from the past that will help the evaluator. So I was pleased with that progress.
All right. Are we waiving first appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is going to be a waiver of first appearance. The case is reset to, is October 1st a Thursday? No, it's not. It's going to be reset to October 3rd at 11 a.m. And Mr. McLean, please go ahead and request the MH evaluation if that's what you all are seeking.
I will.
It needs to be submitted to Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right, we are addressing position 14, Jamari Hutchins, 24 CR 6550F, in which he's accused of 2 counts of simple battery family violence from January 2nd, 2024. Mr. Hutchins, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. All right, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2022, sale of marijuana. Possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. Just open out a card.
All right, Ms. McKay?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at 3027 Collier Road Northwest. When officers arrived, they spoke with the victim, Ms. Kamisha Patterson, who shares 2 children with the defendant. Ms. Patterson stated that she went to the location to borrow a pot from the defendant's mother. When she arrived, the defendant began arguing with her and ended up grabbing her by her hair, dragging her outside, and pulling her down the stairs. The victim, Ms. Patterson, did say that she struck the defendant in self-defense to get him off of her, and then the defendant was asked to leave the location by his own family that was present. We have had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Patterson, who confirmed the events in the warrant, stated the incident location is the defendant's residence and she doesn't live there. This is the first time something like this has happened, and that they have been in contact, and there has been no violence since this incident. She told us she's not afraid of the defendant and does want to continue contact. So based on the defendant's limited history and our conversation with Ms. Patterson, the state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with Kamisha Patterson, an FBIP or at least some anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And I would ask the court to sound for Ms. Patterson.
All right, Ms. Patterson's on the Zoom. Ms. Patterson, if you want to contribute to the proceeding, you'll need to unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. Cook, what would you, I'm sorry, what was the bond amount again?
We requested a signature bond and then no contact.
And no contact.
No violent contact.
No violent contact, okay. Cook?
We would object to the anger management or FVIP. Beyond that, we would have no objection.
All right. On the each count of simple battery family violence is going to be 1,500. Signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. It's a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. And no violent contact. I'm assuming Kamisha Patterson's okay with it, which means that Mr. Hutchins, you can have contact with Ms. Patterson, but that cannot involve any physical or verbal verbal altercations. Otherwise, you could be arrested again and your bond will be revoked. While you are out on a signature bond through pretrial services, you will report to pretrial once a month. You will also enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 30 days of being released. So you need to show proof of enrollment with the DBIP program. This is a 24 weekly classes, and you will pay for those classes out of your own pocket. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no firearms and weapons. Thank you.
Number 16.
That was 1-6.
Yes.
All right. Do we know what's going on with Bruce Moore, position 15? Can anyone enlighten us? Mr. McLean?
Okay.
Thank you. Your Honor, I attempted to communicate with Mr. Moore, and so far it has not been possible. He has hearing impairment, he has speech problems. We tried asking if he could do teletype or reading notes. That wasn't going to work. Doesn't know American Sign Language or any kind of sign language. We're going to have a great deal of difficulty communicating with Mr. Moore. I read his police report. He has a Cobb hold, and considering what the Cobb hold is, and considering the fact that he already has a $1,000 not signature, I'm sorry, $1,000 surety bond on each one of the 3 counts. In our case, I don't think there'd be any harm in resetting the case to either tomorrow or a more convenient date to see if we can make any more progress in communicating with him. There won't be any harm to his freedom. Looking at the Cobb case, we will attempt to gather information about it so as to speed that up. Since it is a neighboring county, they'll come get him fairly quickly once we're through, but we'll try to speed that up to make up for the reset.
All right, Ms. Mokeke, if you can, is that your case as well?
Yes, that's my case, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to reset Bruce Moore to tomorrow. I think Judge Mincy is going to address it. If y'all can decide whether you want to release him to the hold, that's something that the state can ponder. Mr. McLean, if you can determine if he will waive his appearance, does he communicate in writing?
No.
Okay. Well,
we're looking for it's a Helen Keller situation almost, not quite.
Okay. Well, I'll let the defense decide how they want to proceed, but these are the options. Otherwise, we can get a sign interpreter since you indicated that he doesn't use sign as well.
Does not.
Oh my God. Almost Helen Keller, can he see?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Okay, so you can see.
All right. Hopefully there'll be some progress tomorrow for Judge Mincy to address. I'm going to reset it to tomorrow, September 19th at 2 p.m. All right, moving on to position 16. This is State versus Mr. Ade Tokunbo Odubawo, 24 CR 6546E. Charged with giving false name, address, or birth date to a law enforcement officer on December 11th, 2023. Mr. Odubawo, your case number is 24 CR 6546E. Mr. Howard, Mr. Odubawo has been advised of his rights and his attorney is Mr. Cook. Mr. Howard, priors?
Second arrest, 2023, driving without a valid license.
All right. Ms. Mokeke?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at the Regions Bank located at 6343 Roswell Road. The defendant was at the bank trying to use a fake ID to withdraw money from a bank account. The bank manager stated that the defendant has come in before and tried to withdraw money using different passports with different names. When questioned, the defendant gave the officers the name of Monrovia Doe and was allowed to. After the police could not run a GCIC, it was determined that that was a fake name. I think the defendant currently has a felony case for theft by deception, and I don't think he was given a bond amount for that. The state's recommendation for this particular case is going to be a signature bond. Stay away from that Regions Bank located at 6343 Roswell Road. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
He's got a $10,000 surety on the open felony case.
Okay.
Mr. McLean, anything to add?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
On the giving false information, that's going to be a $10,000 signature bond through the jail. To stay away from the Regions Bank in question, as well as stay away from all Regions Bank, including any kind of online communication. His next court date will be sent to his current address. And the address we have presently on file is the Lawton Bridge location in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Mr. Odubawo, if you have a different address or a new address, you'll be required to update the court in writing for this particular case. Thank you. He's got a $10,000 surety bond. I don't know if do you want me to reset it to October 1st, Mr. McLean?
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm confused about the different charges. I think we just set a $10,000 signature bond on which electronic warrant, because I don't have the case number, but is it the one ending in 4962 or 48?
I don't have. Let me just get to the right screen to help you out with that. Oh my goodness, I can't believe how long it's taking.
Your Honor, Miss Conley put in the chat 48. That means anything to
Okay.
anyone?
All right, so the warrant ending in 48, is that the one that you're looking at?
So that's the false name, address, and birth date to LEO. And the current, so we, I'm sorry.
For the misdemeanor false name, I can't seem to pull up the warrant. Is that your question? Did that answer your question?
Right, usually when we get information, we have highlighted to us which charges, if there are multiple charges, we have highlighted which charges we're dealing with today. So we were just dealing with false name and to the LEO, or actually.
Yeah, the theft case is a felony, Mr. McLean.
Right, the other case is a felony, so it wouldn't be here. So what happened to 149? I may have missed the email.
That's willful obstruction of the law enforcement officer. There's a $10,000 bond already in place on that.
Right, there was already a bond on both of them. So my point is that 148 and 149 go together as misdemeanors.
Yes,
So
I think the willful obstruction, that was NOD'd by Deputy Falk this morning.
that's what I was about to say. You know, we sometimes miss the emails that come in while we're here. So thank you.
Okay. All right, that answers the question, and we are moving on to the next case. I don't know if I think that concludes the calendar.
No, we have one other person, position number 21, Yarborough.
Sorry, I missed two pages. Okay, what about Christopher Stewart?
Bond posted.
Bond posted. So Christopher Stewart, position 20 is released and further notice. So let's address Jeremy Yarborough. Mr. Yarborough's case is 24 CR 6553Y, accused of battery, family violence from January 27, 2023. Mr. Yarborough, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2022 ag assault. On probation for that, cruelty in the third, simple battery DV. It's 23 SC 192-021.
Do we have a conviction date?
August
Yes, Your Honor, August 14th.
Yeah,
Of
last
this
month.
Of this year.
Okay. All right. Ms. Modesiano?
Yes, Judge, this is a bit of an interesting situation. This is a delayed arrest. This incident took place on January 27th of 2023 at 2500 Center Street. The victim in this case is Amanda Ross. She's the same victim in the aggravated assault case, 23 SC 192-021. He was out on bond for that case at the time of this incident, and he was his bond ordered him to have no contact with Ms. Ross, and was also ordered to stay away from the same incident location. In this case, the victim called the police to report that the defendant assaulted her. They have a child together. She reported that the defendant was upset because the baby was crying. He initially left the location. She posted something on social media, which prompted him to return to the location and start an argument with her. And during that argument, he picked up a chair and swung it at the victim, striking her. She had swelling and scratches to her left hand and forearm. Since this case, the defendants pled guilty in the aggravated assault case, which of course in a perfect world, this warrant would have been discovered before he pled guilty. And the only reason that this case is not a felony, Your Honor, is because part of his plea deal in the ag assault case was it was reduced from ag assault family violence to just regular ag assault. And then there was a charge for simple battery family violence. And one of the conditions of his probation is that he's to have no further contact with Ms. Ross until he completes FFIB. And he was sentenced to that on August 14th. So it's been about 5 weeks, and obviously he hasn't had long enough time to complete FFIB at this point. Your Honor, so the state's requesting, in this case, a $5,000 surety bond because it is a second case involving this victim. Of course, because he was the way he was sentenced, I'm not sure it's a violation of his probation because it happened before, but certainly it would have been helpful when the DA was negotiating this case to whether or not to reduce it if they had the full picture, which they obviously didn't. We're asking that there be no further contact with the victim until he completes FFIB pursuant to his current probation conditions in that case number 23 SC 192021. Stay away from her, the same incident location, 2500 Center Street, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if Your Honor can sound for Miss Ross.
Ms. Ross? I don't see anyone by that name. Looks like everybody else are just,
I understand.
Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Surely, Your Honor, because of the timing of when the plea was and the conditions and that sort of thing, he would have been thinking, and he may have been thinking, I'm sure there was some confusion. Your Honor, this took place on this coming January 27th. It will have been 2 years since the occurrence of today's offense. I think the fair thing to do would be to give him a signature bond and have him straighten this mess out.
And Your Honor, to be clear, the state normally requests a cash bond in a case like this, and because of the confusion, we're requesting a surety bond, which we feel is reasonable here.
All right. I've got another case. This is the one we are addressing with Mr. Yarborough is 6553Y, battery family violence. I've got another one. Oh, sorry. I don't know why they're all being linked. For some reason, some of the cases are being linked with the other defendants. So disregard what I just said. With regards to the battery family violence, the bond is going to be set at $1,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Ms. Ross to stay away from wherever she happens to be located. If he plans to have contact with the child or children he shares with Ms. Ross, he needs to file a legitimation action in order to get a court order to establish visitation and custody. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons, and to also comply with the all the conditions for probation in his case 23 SC 192021. Next court date is going to be October 1st.
October 1st, thank you. That's the amount it's going to cost to get out.
Miss Desiano, I understand that the lady, Miss Colvin, she the sixth case has been accused under 24 CR 006-559E. That's been included on the add-on expedited accusation calendar. And as indicated before, that's also going to be a $500 surety bond. Reset date October 1st, pending release, and to stay away from all Target stores.
Thank you. We had a case on Saturday's SEA calendar where you had ordered the defendant to stay away from the victim's residence, and the bond order inadvertently has a stay away from the victim's residence and his own residence. Defense counsel brought this to my attention 2 days ago or so, and he's preparing a consent order fixing that. Also, while we were in the middle of discussing that together, we noticed that there's also possibly a typo on the victim's address. May we send you an email just with the corrected order for that when it's available?
Send an email
yesterday, Your Honor.
Did I correct it?
You haven't sent anything back to me.
All right, I'm so sorry. I have been in hearings yesterday from 9 a.m. until 6. So, and then after that today from 9 until 1:57 before I came on this. So I'm sorry, I've been a busy little bee. I will correct that as soon as possible.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'm still waiting. The order he sent me before had a typo in it, so he's fixing it. And whenever it's ready for Your Honor, I'll email it over and I'll copy him as well.
Yeah, please send me that. So am I addressing the last email that you sent or Ms. Bridgewater sent?
Did you forward her my email from Judge Mincy?
I did.
Okay.
I did it yesterday, Your Honor. So it's probably the same thing that you're waiting.
It's the same thing, Judge, but basically I was trying to get the order signed yesterday by whoever was presiding, and I realized that defense counsel put some language in there about a motion, and we were just submitting an order. So once Judge Mincy was confused and she said, let Judge Law handle this. And once I read the order and realized like, okay, this needs to be deleted and we're fixing it so that it makes sense. And
Who
once
was-
it's,
Who was
I'm sorry,
Who was
Bill Thomas.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Just send me what you want me to address. I'm gonna look at your current email or whoever's sending it and the previous one, and I'll give you all an amended bond order.
Okay, that works too. Thank you.
All right. Are we concluded?
I believe we are.
All right, so position 1, Adam, a $1,000 cash bond, further notice to October 1st. Position 2 and position 3, Bacchus, is a $1,000 surety bond on each count, further notice to October 1st, both cases, along with his third case, ending in 6516B. 4, Breedlove is a $5,000 split bond, reset to October 1st. 5, Carlisle is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 6 is a $500 surety bond. Well, let me put this this way. Colvin is 5, 6, no, excuse me. Yeah, no, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the add-on. All these 6 cases are further notice to October 1st with a bond of $500 surety on each case. Did y'all get the add-on case number?
Yes.
Okay. Position 11, Ellis is null prost. Position 12, Pierce is a $7,000, no, 3,500, excuse me, 3,500 signature bond to pretrial level 1. Position 13, Harry Head is reset to October 3rd at 11 a.m. pending an MH evaluation. Position 14, Hutchins is a $1,500 signature bond through was it 15 or 3,000?
Total 3,000, 1,500 on each charge.
Okay, so it's a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Moving on to position 15, Bruce Moore, and that is reset to September 19th at 2 p.m. Hopefully we'll be able to get some communication with Mr. Moore. Position 16 is a $10,000 signature bond through the jail. Again, Mr. McLean, or Mr. Cook, sorry, do you want me to reset this case to October?
Actually, that's Mr. McLean's case.
Oh, Mr. McLean's case. Mr. McLean, is he there in courtroom 2? No? Let's reset that to October 1st in case he's still got the felony hold.
Okay.
Position 17, Judith Olson is a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1 for the notice. Position 18 is a, that's the $7,000 split bond. And that's reset to October 1st. I guess October 1st, unless we want to put it on a October 3rd competency calendar.
What's
No?
the breakdown of 18?
18, 3,500 on each count, 3,500 surety on count 1, and 3,500 signature bond through the jail on count 2. I'm just going to leave it to October 1st at 9 a.m. Position 19, Maya Randolph is a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. And position 20 is released and further notice. Position 21, Yarborough is a 1,500 surety, reset to October 1st, 2024. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's good. I will review these orders as well as the 2 emails that you all sent me. Okay.
Thank you, Judge. And I'll send you an email just kind of wrapping up. We were going back and forth. I'll just send you one email that gives you the information that you need.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what? I won't send her anything else. I don't want to confuse her.
There's been a lot of emails going back and forth.
All right. All right. Let me play catch up right now. Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.